folks, we basically took something that wasn't legal and made it legal by perfecting it and basically evolving it into what we call pretty much the best 100% corn whiskey product in the marketplace. And so we've been very fortunate in that regard. And so we tell everybody the best thing to do is just try. It really is. Everybody sort of assumes something has a perception of it, but the taste is phenomenal. As Gale said, we use products that don't distort. So whatever you see on the shelf day one looks the same way on a day shelf 30, 60 days later. Hopefully it's already sold by then, to be quite honest. But, you know, we took out all the impurities and perfected it and made it something that we could replicate and taste extremely good all the time.
And I'm just wondering, because all of y'all are entrepreneurs, what do you tell other young entrepreneurs? Because one of the things that I'm fascinated by, not just by you, but by some other entrepreneurs that I've met, is it seems to me that a lot of the better entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs that are trying to do things outside of the tried and true entrepreneurship ideas. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, opening up a store is a wonderful, opening up a store is a wonderful thing. Opening up a restaurant can be a wonderful thing. It's a hard business to get into, but, you know, opening up a gas station. But those are kind of the tried and true. But a lot of people, and particularly folks, I would say probably in a certain age range that is a little bit more mature. I don't know that any 20-year-old is going to try to start a liquor company, but something that's in that definitely 30 to 50, even 30 to 60 age range. It seems like more of us are trying to find businesses that are business opportunities, but that the average person might not have thought about.
Well, I think for us, we took something that we love to do, and I think that's always anything that you have a passion about makes it really easy to go be a business partner in that particular business. And so, because we love what we do, we didn't initially do this, to be quite honest, until Gale sort of beat us up to do this to make money. We really didn't. We didn't really think of it as a business because we really truly enjoyed what we call the phrase alcohol and conversation. So you talk about the lineage of black folks literally sitting around a table, having a conversation, socializing, whether it's on family reunions, holidays, et cetera. It's a natural thing for us to do that. And so all we did was take something that we already do, that we have a passion about. We wanted that to come through in our product and the product that we had in the marketplace. And we took that passion for having the best product in the marketplace and creating the best corn whiskey available and put it in and put it out there in the atmosphere. And so we had our naysayers at first. We've gone through all of that, but at the same time, for every person that told us that we couldn't do it, we sort of stuck with what we believed in because we really felt like we had the best product, not because we did it, but because that consumed it, that it was. And so that's what fueled our fire when we went through some of these meetings initially to how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. And we built a foundation based on
Well, yeah, because you're right. Because I know even a lot of times it is our social stuff that is what gets us involved in whatever we do and everything. I remember that my first taste of any sort of liquor was actually, like you mentioned, our folks do the social thing, and they would have their bid whiz games. And I think I might have been either a teenager or a pre-teenager. And, of course, you know, it wasn't the hard liquor. I think they might have been having wine or beer. And they were like, you know, I'm just wandering around as kids will do. And they were like, well, you know, he's old enough to at least try a sip. We're not going to give him a full amount, but he can at least try a sip while we're over here playing cards, so he'll know what it is this product is and whether he likes it or not. So that was like, I think my first, it might have either been first wine or first beer, but it was one of those. And it was literally the folks playing around the family card table playing bid whist.
Absolutely. We are a sociable group of people. We've always been that way. And I think sometimes you're always looking for the next great idea, but sometimes the best ideas are the actual simplest ideas. And so this alcohol, from a consumption standpoint, it's always been around, whether legally or illegally, it's always been there. And it's just one of those things. It's almost as permanent as taxes. It's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. And so as long as you make a great product, people will always find and seek you out. So we're excited about what we have. We're excited to be in North Carolina under the special order code. You can go to the website and get all that information to walk into any ABC store and order it. But the great thing is that we've done a lot of this through grassroots, word of mouth, through a lot of social media, but primarily through conversations. And alcohol and conversation goes a long way. So please tell your friends about it. Please spread the word and try the product, because I think once you try the product, you'll realize that even all these conceptions that you had about moonshine will just be blown away, and that you'll truly see that we've made a product that you can either drink on Wall Street or the backwoods, whether it's from Tennessee to New York to Chicago or L.A. This is that product.
You know, I remember having a sip of one of the products. I think it was kind of a fruity kind of flavor. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember having it in Hayti. You're right. It was definitely one that was definitely had a nice flavor to it, and definitely did not make you think of anything harsh that is the stereotype of what moonshine will be. It definitely had a more pleasant kind of flavor to it. It was at an event, I believe, that Spectacular Magazine was doing.
Yep. Yeah. So the apple pie, we have two proofs right now. As Gale mentioned, we have two products, a Special Reserve and an apple pie. The Special Reserve is 100 proof, and then the apple pie is 60 proof. And even the 100 proof, which sometimes folks will get a little leery about, is as clean and smooth as water. So it's one of those things that you sort of have to take a chance, try it, and you'll really truly be amazed. And then, like Gale said, anything that you would normally mix vodka or gin with, Moscow Mule, all these different recipes that are traditional recipes, you can do with Still Moon. And actually, we think it tastes better with Still Moon, to be quite honest.
What were some of the things, and this is for any one of y'all with the Drink Still Moon team and everything, what were some of the things that the naysayers were saying? I'm always fascinated by what naysayers say. I mean, we had Suleiman Mayusi on, and he was talking about some of the naysayers even in the concert business and how he had to nip them in the bud, as well as the folks that are always trying to get the freebie, because I'm sure even in your business you're having folks that are always trying to get the freebie, not understanding that it is a business for y'all.
Well, I'll say this before anybody else jumps on, and Gale knows this to a T. So I won't mention any the names in terms of people that were in the rooms to sort of protect their privacy, but we got a chance to sit in Tennessee in a room that was literally represented by billionaires, both from a political standpoint, from a big business standpoint. And it was cool to be a part of that meeting, but what really fueled us coming away from that meeting was they basically told us that we couldn't do this without them. And we sort of looked around the room and said, we're at the table. I mean, these people can buy us 1,000 times over. We're at the table. And they're telling us that we can't do it, but yet they want our product. Something didn't add up to me. And so, from that moment on, that was sort of the catalyst for us to say, you know what, we can do this because they're asking for it. They're trying to get our product. They can be anywhere in the country, buy anything that they want, and they're trying to get our product. And so everywhere we've gone, to be quite honest, Dean, when we've gone into distributor rooms and had those meetings, we're the first of everything, so to speak. And so we've learned from that. We don't take that for granted. It's a blessing. We're humbled by it, but at the same time, we're trying to put our best foot forward and say, hey, look, we're here. This is what we have. You got to recognize that this product is fantastic. It's not marketing. It really is a fantastic product. And so that was probably the thing for me.
Do you think that that's something that we will ever get away from and that we will actually ever be able to do? Because whether it's the liquor industry or an industry that I'm very much familiar with, the music business and the film industry and everything, that's the one thing we don't necessarily have is the distribution end, the ownership end. I mean, yes, we own like y'all do on this end, but the bigger distribution end, a lot of our players that might even have the capital don't necessarily want to jump into it, or it might be too costly for them, or they might not want to compete with the big boys. But do you think that there is ever a point that we will actually see a minority distribution firms that can actually move these kind of products on a regular basis? Because I don't care what the industry is, that seems to be the missing link to a lot of our businesses.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that will happen. Well, I was just going to agree with you. I definitely believe that eventually that will happen. But I will say that we are blessed in that we have been able to produce the product. And, that's really the biggest barrier that comes with getting into this industry is coming up with the capital to purchase bottles, print labels, and actually bottle and produce the initial runs and then subsequent runs. Getting a distributor is a challenge, but if you can create the demand, when you have the likes of Ruth Chris and the Marriott and bartenders at high-end bars across the country asking about the product, and then customers coming in and asking for cocktails to be made with that product. That is what makes us not owning the distributorships less of an issue, because if we have the demand from consumers, the support from consumers, which we very much appreciate, because we have had very good support so far, but we really appreciate it so that we can continue to grow and expand into other states. By being able to get our consumers to come in and ask for it, it sort of forces distributors to take note, and they certainly then want to be part of something that's popular and growing.
Yeah, because I know I just ran into a guy earlier, and he's part of a plan, I guess, to try to get more of our businesses here in the States to connect with the ones in the rest of the diaspora, because I think that this year is the year of the return, or maybe it's next year. So it sounds like he was trying to tap like American companies, particularly African-American companies, into, say, like a Ghana or a Liberia or things of that nature. And it seems to me that we would have done that a long time ago. But I guess because of the natures of political boundaries and religious boundaries and things like that, that's gotten in our way in terms of actually making these kind of big global kind of changes that could definitely put us even more on a global market. Because I'm just thinking about how much of consumers we are. Because we're actually, I want to say, aren't we like one of the top consumers in the industry that y'all are part of? I mean, and I'm so glad that we've got our foot in the business, because I know as consumers, I want to say that we're one of the top consumers.
We are certainly one of the top consumer groups. However, there are other segments like Asia, and there are other countries, including England. There are other areas that have strong interest in our brand and have strong interest in support of whiskey in general. I mean, obviously, whiskey originated in Scotland, and so there are other countries and other segments that actually are very heavy consumers as well. But definitely, the support from the African American community has been great, because they are consumers of whiskey and moonshine.
Gotcha. And what are some of the events that y'all have coming up? Any events that are coming up? And they can be anywhere, because like I said, Dean's in Jersey, and we have listeners from throughout the country and actually throughout the world. So are there any events that y'all already know about that are coming up that are going to be Drink Still Moon events that folks should be aware of, other than going to the website and definitely getting a sample so they can see how great it is, as we already know?
You know, that's a good question, because we do better of promoting events that are coming up. We've done pretty well of communicating where we've been, but I'm glad you asked that question, because we need to do a better job on all of our social media sites, making sure that we're getting the word out about things that are coming up. But Kelvin, you want to talk about some of the things that you know are happening?
Well, we always have a standing deal with in terms of the fall, Dean, with North Carolina A&T and the alumni weekend. We always support that pretty hard with a lot of our fellow Aggies in terms of the things that we do in terms of getting our alcohol out there. We've done that for the last 4 or 5 years. In terms of the end of the summer, we've got a couple of things that we've been offered that we'll get a chance to reflect on soon. We've been, and I'll refrain from putting those events out there, but we're always constantly looking at offers and ideas, because the great thing about it is everybody wants us to be there. Unfortunately, as a small business, like most small businesses, we have a budget that we have to stick to, and we set that budget at the beginning of the year. But we are constantly looking for folks that want to bring us in. And so we tell anybody, you can go to the website and email us if you have something that's going on that you want Still Moon to be a part of. We're more than willing to listen, because we get offered stuff all the time. It's amazing that how much stuff we get offered, and some of the ideas that are from far left to the far right that we sort of have to pass on, because they just don't necessarily fit the brand or make sense for us. But at the same time, because we want to make sure that whatever we're a part of, is a premium type event that reflects the brand itself and what we're designed and what our mission is.
Which actually raises an interesting question. Well, actually, I want to bring Allison in on one question that I've got. But have there been any sort of events that y'all have had that you automatically